I know we give Michael Jordan a lot of credit for a lot of different stuff. 6 titles, 5 MVPs, game winners. I mean, the list can go on and on. But if it's one thing that he actually did that I kind of have a hard time wrapping my mind around, it's the fact that this man three-peated twice. I don't even think people understand exactly how hard one three-peat actually is. This is why I think this man, he's the best player breathing right now, and you can't convince me otherwise. But on a serious side, I bet you don't even know exactly where the term three-peat really came from. If you didn't know, the term came from the legendary Pat Riley. Fresh off that back-to-back with the Lakers in '88, he came up with the famous term three-peat. And oddly enough, even though he had multiple chances, he didn't even do it. The man that trademarked it has never even done it. Do you know if you take out Phil Jackson's 3, there's never been a three-peat in modern NBA history? This is why Phil Jackson is the greatest coach of all time to me, because he almost did it 4 times and it takes so much. And that's exactly what this video is about. But before we get into all that, if you're new, make sure you guys subscribe, turn on notifications, like the video, comment, do all that great stuff, man. It helps the channel grow. We trying to get to 300K before the end of the year. So if you can do it for me really quickly, I'll definitely appreciate it. Now let's get into the video.
Let me ask you a question. Name one NBA dynasty that's ever lasted longer than we thought. Because maintaining great, to me, is just as hard or harder than attaining great. Chris Bosh was on the show yesterday. He said after we won the second one and we were headed for the third, and that's what the Warriors will be doing next year, he said it started to emotionally be really, really hard.
Pause that. Now, as we all know, the Warriors didn't, and I want to touch on something Colin said really quickly.
Name one NBA dynasty that's ever lasted longer than we thought.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
They want to talk about super teams this, super team that. I never played on a super team. You started the super team, bro.
Yeah, that fell on his face pretty quickly as well. I know this may sound kind of crazy, but in my lifetime, it's hard for me to see another three-peat actually happening. And I'm going to give you guys a rundown of all the reasons why. And please listen very closely. First, it's the health aspect of everything. You have to understand how many more games a team that's chasing a three-peat, how many more games they play than your average team. When the Warriors lost last year, I think for the most part we all understand why they lost. Injury smacked them on the ass, and they smacked them hard. But let's take a deeper dive into why that may have happened. The Warriors going into the playoffs last year, they'd been in 4 previous finals before that. So in total, that was exactly 82 playoff games played going into last year's playoffs. Literally an extra regular season worth of games. That's how many extra games they had on their legs. Western Conference Finals, Game 7s, all that was on their legs. Now, just for comparisons, let's compare that to, I don't know, Kyle Lowry and the Toronto Raptors. In their 4 previous seasons, they basically had half the amount of mileage than the Golden State Warriors had. Half. And imagine if the Warriors actually did see the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, these would have been the Warriors' previous 4 years, and these would have been the Bucks. Physically, those are 2 completely different teams. Just looking at the numbers, you can see why they had tweaks and freak accidents and little minor injuries that nagged them, because you can just see the difference. When the Lakers tried for a three-peat in 2011, as we all should know, they fell short. Just look at how many games Kobe had his previous 3 seasons, going to 3 straight NBA finals, and look at Dirk Nowitzki's previous 3 seasons. Look at the difference. You may think I'm overstating this, but trust me, that stuff matters. Also, that leads me directly into my next point, the mental fatigue. I want to read you this unique quote by Steve Kerr going into last year's NBA Finals. Mind you, this man's three-peated and he's won 5 NBA championships, so he knows what he's talking about. I knew from playing my third year in Chicago, that third year of that championship run, 97-98, you can just feel the wear and tear, not just physically, but emotionally. Getting up for so many games, being circled on everybody's calendar, making deep playoff runs. Basically, he's saying that stuff is emotionally draining. This is why I hate the notion that Jordan would have just won 8 straight or even 4 straight, because you don't understand the toll of being the league's target for 4 straight seasons. In that docuseries that we just finished, Mike even said after his second championship, only his second, the only reason he came back for a third was because Magic and Larry had never done it. Listen to Dwayne Wade kind of detail how brutal his three-peat attempt actually was.
You know, for us, we would love to win 4, but this game was too good for that. Yeah. And we broke down along the way as well. That last year, we was mentally, physically, we was jacked. Drained. Yeah, it was mentally, man. We was the jokes weren't funny no more in the locker room. Yeah, you know what I mean. we weren't as cool as people in the public eye thought we were to each other. Like, it just was different. We was around each other for a long time. We took a lot of scrutiny as well, and it kind of wore on us a little bit. But you know, we did try to enjoy it along the way as well.
It doesn't matter how good the team is or how many stars they have. When a bunch of alpha men are on one team together, egos, contracts, credit, rumors, all those things are inevitable, and being the villain just gets old. And this leads me directly into my final point and why I probably can't see another three-peat happening anytime soon.
If you ain't trying to contend with the Warriors, then what are we doing? Like, you know what I mean? The Warriors haven't lost in the playoffs. Like, if you're not trying to contend with them, then what are you doing?
It's what I like to call the target factor. When a team is completely punishing the entire league and coasting through all these opponents, the only bad part about that is the fact that you're everyone's target. I just played Chris Paul explaining why he went to Houston. Teams literally built their roster from top to bottom to beat one team, and that's exactly what Houston did, and they almost pulled it off. When Houston played Golden State in the Western Conference Finals, both the reasons they lost and the reasons they were up 3-2 were both because of Chris Paul to me. That specific Houston team was so perfect for Golden State to me because they had another great ball handler abusing Steph in the pick and roll, constantly attacking that man on defense. That took away some of his offense, and that's how they were able to win those 3 games. If you look at the 5 games that Chris Paul actually played, in 4 of them, Steph was pretty terrible. Chris Paul got hurt, so they just couldn't get it done. But to me, that was the Warriors dynasty right there. I know the Celtics' big 3 didn't win multiple titles, but they did have a good run in the East. And look at exactly what happened in 2010. Miami formed a younger, better version of them, and they never went back to the NBA Finals, and they ultimately broke up. Also, when you constantly beat one team, especially when you just edge past them, they always come back a little bit better, and they always learn from their mistakes the following season. In 1988, when the Lakers won their 2nd consecutive title, guess who they beat? The Detroit Pistons. In 1989, when they tried to three-peat, guess who they lost to? The Detroit Pistons. After that, Detroit won 2 straight, and in 1990, they punished Chicago. Well, guess who messed up their three-peat? As you all know, Chicago. Even not too long ago, when Miami beat San Antonio in the most bizarre NBA Finals I ever seen, guess who messed up their three-peat? As we all know, San Antonio. And even the last team that did three-peat, when the Lakers beat Sacramento in 2002, if it wasn't for one of the most controversial games of all time, Sacramento might have been on this list. When you look at three-peats, there's only been 3 of them in 50 plus seasons. So that's why it's hard for me to see them happening. And especially nowadays with the massive contracts and the new player movements, I just don't know if it can ever happen. Golden State may have been our last shot. I really want to know in the comment section what you guys think about this topic, because to me, even the great teams like Tim Duncan and the Spurs, they never even won back-to-back. So I want to know what you guys think. If you guys like the video, make sure you guys like the video. Again, make sure you comment. Do you think this is possible? Follow my social media sites. Make sure you guys subscribe and turn on notifications. I'm posting a lot more videos and all that. So do all that great stuff, guys. And until next time, as always, stay tuned.